It's a tough one. Spider and Starlight are going to have to fight off against none other than the top seed of their region, Baywak and JSwag, the top seed and the top placing of the competition. I don't know about you. There might be a high likelihood of a washout, but you never know. You just never know.
Yeah, you never know, that is for sure. But I mean, Biowak and JSwag, they looking absolutely fantastic during this event. And I mean, they have shown their pace already. I mean, they have not dropped a single series so far. And I mean, positions are kind of set in stone. I think there can still be something happening for that sixth position in particular. But we're also going to see like how they gonna play. I mean, Spider and Starlight, they have to perform, they have to win this match in order to have a shot of getting that sixth place. That is for sure.
Yeah, but I feel like given the status of DXA more as an outsider in this particular match compared to somebody like Trident, who are of course tipped as the firm favorite to win it all, along with Ontic, obviously, I think they're going to be coming in with an attitude of absolutely nothing to lose at this point, as we are gets declared with the pick and ban with Shias and Simplicity being locked in as pure bans. First pick will be courtesy of Trident, and it will be Luminance that will actually be the scene of the start of the series before heading on to 3-piece, which is the first DXA pick from that particular best of 5, and then JSwag will be in the charge of actually doing the picks for Tridents. So left in the picks are Waiting, Candy Crush. Candy Crush will be on map 3, thus it will be between Waiting and I forgot the other map already. Agartha. There we go. I found it. Yeah. Agartha, either P4, P5. It will be map 4 for Agartha, and Waiting will be the decider.
So I hope that we're gonna see Agartha, but I heavily doubt that after just also seeing JSwag and Biowak just playing in like just yesterday, I mean, or like just any other day. I mean, they were performing absolutely fantastic, and I do think that they will be a very, very hard nut to crack here. And my prediction is that we're not gonna see Agartha, as much as I would love to see it, because we have seen it also during the Baltic event. It has been revamped a little bit. I really like that. I also want to get your POV on that, Geek. If a map like gets slightly adjusted for a next competition, I really like that. But I do think it will be a 3-0.
Yeah, I do think so as well. I don't think we're going to be seeing Agartha as much as I want to pull for DXA to kind of like play the troublemaker and maybe pull the absolute blinder of an underdog story there. Playing against third place in AOTC, best rookie of AOTC 23, I might add, someone having beat Mutta in AOTC, and against a world championship contending duo is definitely a mountain of the tallest grade that you're going to have to climb if you're DXA. So I'm also thinking 3-0 going the way of Trident.
Yeah, I mean, Biowak and JSwag, I mean, we were confusing that at the start, but this is the duo, that has beaten Scrappy and Dexter. I mean, let it be that they have not been prepared that much, but I mean, for some people it came to a shock, but this just shows that we should definitely not underestimate this region, and we have some insanely talented players on there, also from the match from beforehand. I mean, Winky Face, Campaign Hunter, and just very good on Track of the Days as well, right? So it's versatile, it's great, and I love to see this kind of development. It's not a shitter region. It's definitely not. It's a region that I also slept on at the start. Yeah, but they are coming.
No. APAC is not a shitter region at all. It's we talk shitter region because about something else. Yeah, something that's more related to one of us. It's not you. It's about the other half of us. But anyway, getting straight into the game, round 1, map 1 underway, and so far Baywak and JSwag having a really, really solid start, thus allowing themselves to take the reins very early on. So far it is going to be Starlight trying to take the reins as well. Both Starlight and Baywak having troubles of their own. Baywak forced to take a little bit more of a 3-point turn than necessary, and thus it will be a draw situation drawing in, currently sitting at the start. And we see JSwag also having a little bit of teleport on his end, but managing to hold the lead by about 0.2 of a second, heading into checkpoint number 8. Spider this time having taken the reins over his teammate, who had some troubles as we've seen in the dirt part. We will still be holding on to 3rd place as we see JSwag continuing to hold a pretty steady lead. Should be no biggie to actually make it over to the finish line, as Spider gets a huge slowdown at that long left-hander before the plastic bar, and the jump into the finish will be 58.5. We do see a bit of an alternative taking of the risky fin. Does not go for the triangle line, Spider, unlike Starlight, and it will be a draw as a result of Baywak's humongous crash at the drop into the dirt.
was more like a 5-way turn there, where the first gear was still kicking in, quickly going back into the reverse gear and then going to the first gear again. But of course, a full stopping, as one could say, back in the True Talent Cup. I mean, this was more frequent due to bugs, but JSwag and Bywak, I would also love to see them in the new competition that has been announced together with in cooperation with Formula E. I do look forward to that, and I hope that some players from the APAC region, also especially Muda, will play this kind of competition. Starlight with the first respawn, but also a good save from Spider there in the previous round. It was not that easy to save it. He set up wide, but then also at the gear and had like no time to react and decided to not go for the triangle jump. So very, very good decision making from Spider there, but right now he finds himself 1 second roughly behind JSwag and Bywak, who just look on a great pace here. Good, consistent approach here from them, and let's see if Bywak can now redeem himself and maybe get that first position. No, had to readjust, and JSwag will take the 2 out of 2 first places for him. Good time as well, a 0.675 and then a 0.835 to wrap things up. It is 4-1. DXA Singapore definitely in need of some points in the next couple of rounds.
Yeah, I feel like it's more a bit of a case of business as usual when it comes to Trident. That first round definitely felt like a temporary setback, if you ask me, following that huge crash from Bywak earlier on. But yeah, Trident trying to get themselves on the right path once again, and they have done just so with that first ace of the match from them on round number 2 here on Luminance, as we're getting started with our third round here. First sector done and dusted, and it will be once again Bywak and JSwag having a proper start, and Starlight completely messing up the landing in the dirt and almost immediately respawning. Same for Spider as well. So already DXA having a little bit of a brick wall that they're heading against when it comes to facing off Trident, because they have to overpush, and unfortunately that overpush means that some alignments are not exactly where they expected to, and that results in some pretty catastrophic failures that we've seen here on this round. So Bywak and JSwag are going to be tandeming this together hand in hand through the final sector, and actually Bywak under threat from his own teammate to actually make it maybe 3 individual round wins in a row for JSwag. It's going to be down to the final corner. Bywak will be able to retain the lead. Not quite. Oh my god, JSwag, that was a bit of a scary moment there, but he does make it through the finish line, and Bywak will get his first individual round win of the day. It will be the 2nd consecutive ace for Trident, who move on to map point number 1.
Yeah, sometimes this ending can be very, very deceiving because it is a lottery bounce, and if you do not set up correctly and maybe just having to adjust in the end, you can also bounce out of the ending or just get stuck or having to respawn. So it is an ace. I mean, he was clear 5 seconds, so he could just back off and start just a couple of centimeters away from the finish, but we can see the first mistake in this round already happening from Spider. So 33% crashes will most likely go up to 50% here after just 4 rounds. So 2 out of 4 rounds will be crashes, and JSwag is also now ahead of Starlight, who did not really find his way into the match, is a bit further behind, can maybe snatch away 1 point here from Bywak and JSwag and force round number 5. But Spider certainly will not play a role here. Bywak and JSwag looking absolutely strong on this particular map, as Bywak looks to win another round. So it is 2 out of 4 and 2 out of 4 for both of them. And there you go, Spider just filling the feed with respawns. And there you go, map number 1 looks to be in the books, but never call it too early. Starlight is not too far behind, can maybe get 1 point here, but nope, it's not the case. Good risk though that he took there. But he turtles his way into the ending after clipping, and map 1 is done here in favor for Team Trident.
10-1, the final score here on Luminance, and a solid grouping of finishes, actually 0.658 and a 0.698 for Bywak and JSwag respectively, who were pretty much in sync with each other throughout the entire round almost, especially in the ending. They managed to actually close the gap back up to make it pretty much a photo finish for that particular duo. But yeah, DXA coming in with nothing to lose, and Trident not coming in with that much to lose as well, because they're still in their undefeated streak, and to be fair, I don't think they would shed a tear if they ended up taking a bit of a dumb L, because they would still be ending up in one of the top 2 spots, which would net them their automatic playoff skip position that they will be after to be directly placed in the semifinals. In the meantime, we're going to be heading into our second map, which is going to be 3-piece yet again. And yeah, very interested to see how DXA trying to mount up a challenge because, yeah, of course, given the standings of the teams, they are having a bit of a pace deficiency when you look at the PBs at the for each and every player. 57.17 for Spider, 0.29 for Starlight, and then you drop into the 56s with a 0.889 for J-Swag and a 0.844 for Baywak. So already, yeah, the balance is obviously going to be heavily in favor of Team Trident as pretty much any other map, but as we said, maybe just the fact of playing your own race, playing your own round, and trying to basically just keep yourself at bay of any kind of silly mistake, any silly wall touches, and maybe take advantage of mistakes arising from the opponents is going to be the key name of the game here for DXA to even salvage a point or maybe even the map from this.
Yeah, just stick to the plan. I mean, it's your first pick. This is most likely your strongest or second strongest map, depending if it was banned from Trident, of course. But just stick to the plan. Don't feel discouraged by the pace from the others. Just stick to the plan and try your best. But right now, J-Spec and Baywak are just playing their consistency game that they were doing in, I mean, everything besides round 1 that we have seen, where there was a small blunder happening to Baywak. But they right now are quite far ahead. Spider not too far behind though. J-Swag with a very wide setup there, almost touching the wall, has a lot of speed to work with. And let's take a look what times they will drive into the ending. This could already crush GPBs from Spider and Starlight, and there you go. It is a 0.03 and a 0.14, so good times, and another ace here on map 2 to start things off as we now go into the second round. Will this be the 5th consecutive ace in a row here for Team Trident? This would be devastating for DXA Singapore, and they are in need of more than that. And I mean, Trident, I think, already has the first seed guaranteed. And this will be the storyline also to follow for the next week. Teams, of course, have 1 week to prepare on this map or on this map pool again, but J-Swag and Baywak already looking very strong. However, we see the first mistake already.
Yeah, there is that opportunity that arises for DXA that they're just patiently waiting for to try and get a few points on the board and maybe try to get a little bit of an attack on it. They do notice a little bit of a wincing from J-Swag's car and maybe a little bit of a drop in pace. Right now, J-Swag still holding steadily, 2/10 ahead of Spider, but Starlight himself having a bit of a trouble in the uphill, left-hander in the dirt, and thus Baywak rears his ugly head to try and move back up the pecking order, but he has a no slide as well. J-Swag continuing to hold the lead pretty firmly in place, and thus it will be a draw situation coming in favor of both teams with a 0.944. 56 is being driven as early as round 2. Spider driving a 0.274 in the 57s. It will be the first point on the board for DXA, but still a 3-point deficit to make up for, and it looks like it will be pretty low probability that they're going to be able to make up that gap because, yeah, Tridents have got a lot more to give in terms of pace, but they're just willingly lifting off the throttle. They do not need to push as hard as what we've seen, for instance, with Min and Chung, where they were facing off against Restless Black in the previous match.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Spider in that way also almost drove PB in that round. And you can see he has to go out of his comfort zone. He has to push those turns a lot. And he knows that. But I mean, that's also now impatience. But on the other hand, what can you do against J-Swag and Baywak? Both, or like at least one of them is on top in every round or in any of those rounds. You know, if like not both players make mistakes in those kind of rounds and they just cruise it here into the ending again by the looks of it. Maybe Starlight can capitalize from a mistake from either of those players, but it doesn't look to be the case. Good setup there as well, and Baywak and J-Swag with good times as well, hand in hand into the ending. Only 28 thousandths between them, and that is another ace. This could be a clean sweep. Another 4 rounds map here if Trident can find another ace in this round. So good performance from them so far. Spider and Starlight, I mean, yeah, they have to go out of their comfort zone, but it's also really hard to beat the top seeded team.
Yeah, exactly. It's very, very hard to beat the #1 team in the standings right now. And also, one thing that I noticed is that Baywak and J-Swag have got so much to give. They finished at 57.2 in the previous round. They didn't even bother with the no slide at the very ending because they were like, we got enough of a lead up yet to actually warrant keeping ourselves at a bit of an angle just to make it safely through to the finish line and avoid having any bad surprises just trying to go for the no slide. So yeah, just a bit more in management mode when it comes to the blue side, especially when it comes to mistakes, taking advantage of mistakes like the one from Starlight, who drops back down to P4. Baywak almost touching the wall on the outside. Dirt! Oh my god, that was such a sketchy ending. Doesn't get the slide though, so it will not be a 4-round deal here on three-piece as Spider and Starlight take second and third. It will be another draw, which means we get up to 2 points on the DXA side, with a .189 being driven by J-Swag and a .4 being driven by Spider behind him. And yes, it's not going to be a 10-1 scoreline again. This time it will be at the very least a 10 or an 11 scoreline, I think, maybe for Trident, unless DXA can pull something out of the magician's hat.
Yeah, I mean, a spark of hope for Spider and Starlight here after claiming another draw, but they still have to find just a first position. I mean, look at that. Starlight and Spider both not gotten themselves a first position at all in this series, and this is just hard to just match the pace from J-Swag, who is just on a great time. Very good alignment over that turn as well. A victory for Trident would be enough, and it could even be an ace, but I think J-Swag is on a really good time here by the looks of it. Maybe Biowak didn't have the best start. I mean, he was behind, but still he's almost half a second behind his teammate. So let's see what J-Swag can do in the ending. It's his round to lose. Will this be a good time? Maybe a 0.8, maybe a 0.9, or maybe it's deceiving because the gaps are so far apart. But yeah, it's a 0.034, so still a good time to end things off. And there you go. It's not 4 rounds, it's 5. So Trident takes it home, and we go to map number 3. And as I say, we might not see Agartha in this series, but DXA Singapore still has Candy Crush to play for to maybe redeem themselves.
Yeah, they've got this is gonna be their last stand, I think, on Candy Crush, because yeah, I don't think Agartha is gonna be on the menu at all over the course of this map series. But maybe we will see it in another match that we might be catching at the very end once that matchup is over, because it does look to be set to be a clean sweep 3-0. Of course, we still have Candy Crush to play through and see if DXA can retaliate and try to actually make their voice heard a little bit, because yeah, there's just been completely suffocating just the fact having to push and over push at the most of times compared to Baywak and J-Swag, and the blue side just takes it in its stride. They've got much more to give. They don't really necessarily need to push all that much to be able to get those aces, but yeah, let's see if DXA are able to kind of push them a little bit further than maybe we even expect here on map number 3, which is starting right here, right now with round 1.
Yeah, let's go into round number 1 here from Candy Crush Mime. Also a very, very like prestigious mapper, I would say, also in Waypoint with that. So he's just, you know, also when he's on LAN events, he always tries to map a little, so he really enjoys that. Very cool to see that kind of stuff. And I think like good players also build good maps because they know like what has to be flowy and all of that if you just take the time and try to put something out of that. But mapping is like a like how to say it, like a good contrast to this sometimes fast-paced play in Trackmania. It is very relaxing, and we can already see the first mistake in this round by Biowak. So this looks to be like a draw. So good start here for DXA Singapore, to say the least. Maybe they can find 1 or 2 mistakes in the next couple of rounds to maybe even go into the lead. But J-Swag is so far ahead, and also Biowak coming closer to Starlight. Starlight not with the best line over that part, didn't get the best entry there, and it will be Biowak overtaking to the line, and it is 400s between them. Biowak snipes that 3rd position, and it's the first victory, if my memory serves me correct, in this series.
And 57.2 for Spider, which actually, or Starlight, I think, which was actually doing a new PB. I think it was Spider, .253. There we go, by finishing in 2nd place. A 10th of an improvement over his previous personal best. So that is pretty noteworthy to be commended here on the part of Spider. Star going a little bit wide over the Sausage Road block, thus dropping down. Also, Baywak dropping down significantly and dropping even further down by touching the CP. Starlight also kind of mudded at that point, but he will see Baywak's mistake and we'll see, okay, now we got something to play for here. Maybe even a draw to be enforced at this stage, as Spider is sitting firmly in 2nd position with not anything to worry about for now, as Baywak still has a lot of catching up to do. 7th to 8/10ths of a gap to actually make up to try and be in contention for 2nd place, as Starlight is a bit closer to Baywak than Baywak is to Spider. Baywak going very, very wide just before that plastic here. Goes a little bit too wide. Might have lost a fair bit of speed compared to Spider. Spider should be safely in 2nd place if he can reach the finish line. Oh no, that's not a good line. That's not a good line. Manages to make it through barely by clipping 4-2. Still 2 points on the board for DXA in the first 2 rounds. That is commendable commendable performance. And yeah, I mean, just to kind of quickly riff off on about the mapping thing, it's kind of like anime, like it kind of reminds me of a quote from the director of Tron, Steven Lisberger, talking about storyboarding, where it's very much an artistic kind of process where you can leave your piece in the background before trying to do something else, and then come back to it with fresher ideas. I think that's actually a kind of good approach to mapping, similar to other art, basically. And yeah, it's kind of cool to see like professional players like mine be able to kind of like delve into that and produce maps like this.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the only one who is like a very, very high-class players, but we also have like just mappers who just solely focus on that and then occasionally play the game. But I mean, it's good to have like those kind of mixed bag in the community. It's very nice. Like, I would also love to map more, but you know, it's always hard to commit to something like that because it's like a lot of work, and you can like it's a long-term project building a map like this. And yeah, well, it is Trident getting another ace here, the first one of this map, and also a good time of 56.590 here by JSwag. 7-2, 1 more aces needed for Trident to already close out this series.
Yeah, and indeed a very good time. 0.59 being driven by JSwag, just a touch over 0.2 away from Min's record of a 0.361. You can see at the top left side of the screen. So far, Starnut managing to get a good start, but doesn't get the slide to go for the inside pole trajectory. Yeah, that is a very heavy no slide as well. That almost brings him down to a halt, thus promoting Spider up into third place. But yeah, he has a bit of a wall touch himself, and it looks as though this is going to be all she wrote. Cut, print, send for Trident, who are looking in prime position to take this as a clean sweep. 3-0 overall, 10-1, 11-2, and it looks as though it might be a 10-2 score that will be heading their way as Starlight is forced to respawn once again. Spider 2.5 seconds down on the leading duo that is going to be finishing almost hand in hand, almost photo finished, one behind the other. Baywak, JSwag leading the two, 0.772 and a 0.808. Sick drum machine. Anyway, 10-2 will be the final score here on Candy Crush, and 3-0 the overall score of the series. Trident go 9-0 overall. Not a single game dropped over the course of this entirety of the group stage.
Yeah, and also closing out this series in 13 rounds. That is insane. Great performance from Trident. Only one more round they needed, then it was possible for a perfect match. So there you go. We are done with this match, and let's jump into the next one. It is server... What server do we have to go on?
Steak and Cheese versus Restless Black. That would be server 5, Kai. Yeah, indeed.
I missed the 25%. Damn.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We are going to be heading in because the series is looking to be heading up pretty nicely. We are 1-1 in terms of maps, 1 map apiece, and 3-0 so far for Steak and Cheese on what looks like waiting. Indeed, it is going to be waiting. That is the theater, and a huge crash from Winky Face as we come back on camera. Zvede and Planetary Goose taking advantage of that to score their second ace in a row here on this map, with Zvede currently leading his teammate by about a 1/10.5 of a second. The times at the end, 56.395 and a 0.6 being driven by Planetary Goose. And so far, the blue side looking to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, 2 aces for them, the one that we have not caught on stream there, but Restless also has won 1 map so far, so I guess that this was a closer map, because I think, 3 maps were already played in the other series, and here we are still on map number 3, and we just started things off. But also Red Bull now not with the best start. Winky Face finds himself the lead. That's full of Goose here for that one, but also very wonky trajectory. Tries to readjust, tries to gain more speed out of that corner, but gets a mistake in there, and also a no slide after that. So Red Bull and Winky Face now up to 1st and 2nd place. Winky Face long gone, almost 1 second ahead of his teammates, but it's still not over for that battle for 2nd place as Goose goes for a respawn, so he will not play a role. Red Bull is on 2nd place. Good line from Sweat though, coming closer to Red Bull, but having to readjust, so not the best speed for him in that corner. And Winky Face and Red Bull with the answer. They will get themselves an ace if Sweat will not overtake. Nope, he will not do so. 56 flat, also good time from Winky Face. Restless still in there, and that was an important ace to get for them, because now it's everyone's game on this map.
Yeah, that was the perfect retaliation that Restless Black needed to do against the two back-to-back aces from Steak and Cheese, which was helped by some mistakes, especially from Planetary Goose, and Zved managing to get a little bit of a heart attack maybe for Red Bolt, as he got a much better exit than Red Bolt, but ultimately it only missed about 32 milliseconds, give or take, to separate second from third, which was in favor of Restless Black this time around. Let's see how that shapes up in round number 4, as we see Zved and Winky Face having a really solid start. Planetary Goose as well in third place. It's going to be Red Bull who's going to be coming out the worst for wear, having dropped a quarter of a second to 3/10 over the course of that start alone. As we make our way through the first sector, Zvede looking to wash out side by side into the dirt and forced to release quite a bit into the tight double right-hander afterwards. So Red Bull promoted up to third position, allowing maybe a victory scenario to transpire in favor of Restless Black. But Zvede is coming back at him almost immediately to retake that third position for himself and prevent any kind of points advantage going the way of the red side. Currently, it's Winky Face holding a pretty steady lead over Planetary Goose by 2/10.5, and Planetary Goose gripping on the inside, allowing Zvede to move up into second position, but Red Bull's way too far back to take advantage of the mistake from Goose, so that will be a draw at the very end of the day, with a .026 being driven by Winky Face. Zvede, Planetary Goose second and third, 7-4 for Steak and Cheese, who are on map point number 2.
Map point number 2 for them, and also rest is not too far. I mean, 4 points is better than 3. It's so important to just get to that next column that like gives you closer to those 10 points. So like 4 points, 7 points, but also 1 point with 3 aces, then you can close it out. So it's important to at least not get aced in one of those rounds. But let's go into this one as everyone gets a good start here. We see the first adjustment being made by Red Bolt, a bit further behind now, but still with a good ending, can even get first position, but attacks the corner a bit too far on the inside, doesn't nail the apex, and having to go back all the way. Look how far back that respawn is, but yeah, well, like this, he will not play a role, so this is the chance for Steak and Cheese to maybe even win this map if Winky Face fails the ending. Planetary Goose goes for the attack. Winky Face not with the best line, crashes into the wall. Goose in the lead, and Sweat in there as well, and there you go. Steak and Cheese will win this map, and we go to map number 4. Red Bolt just respawning and filling the feed. It's still going, even though he was still driving. That's interesting.
Transforming the feed into a bit of a conveyor belt, as it were. But yeah, unfortunate mistake from Winky Face. It was there for the taking to actually try and extract one more round, but unfortunately tried to go a little bit too tight too early at the penultimate, if not final corner before the final checkpoint, and thus hug the wall with the right front, which would have been pretty much a retirement instantly if it were another race series that races in real life. But of course, this is Trackmania, which means there's no damage, so you can still continue on, but losing a ton of time as a result of that wall hugging that happened. As we're heading into Luminance for map number 4, this is an important one for Restless Black, because this is their last chance to force this into a tiebreaker and maybe nab a win away from Steak and Cheese.
Yeah, this could be it as we go to this particular map that we have seen quite often today. Luminance is map number 4. Red Bull and Winky Face, for me, surprisingly have dropped that map. They looked very strong on this series where we have watched them beforehand, but now it seems that their momentum is completely gone and dusted, but they can redeem themselves and maybe make it a 5-way series. So let's go. Good luck, have fun to the teams, and let's go into Luminance as maybe the last map if Steak and Cheese can find the win.
All right, here we go then. Round number 1 underway on map number 4, Luminance, as we see Zvede having a bit of a torrid time, and will be clipping the hole at the very edge of the track here in the dirt, so he will be dropping down to last place, allowing Red Bull to move up into third, and Winky Face having done a solid start, moving up into the lead, going for a low jump, nicely done and nicely landed as well for the man from Restless Black. His teammate Red Bull currently battling with Planetary Goose for the benefit of second position to try and transform this into an ace. A clip from Winky Face, gets away with it somehow, but Planetary Goose is going to be taking advantage of that clip to try and claw the gap back up. It's down to a 10.5 now in favor of Winky Face, heading into the third and final sector with that dirt drop down, going again very, very close to the outside retaining wall, avoiding the wall this time around. Planetary Goose cannot seem to find an opening. Any aperture seemed to be closed shut every time he tries to pull a move on Winky Face, and he's going to crack under pressure himself, allowing Red Bull to move up into second place, and it will be an ace upward on the silver plate for Restless Black due to that mistake from Planetary Goose. 3-0 for the red side. They do need that, but can they keep the momentum going? That is the big question.
Yeah, can they keep it up here with that? I mean, good start for them. That's what they were definitely in need of. But we have seen so many aces in this series already. But it went back and forth between those teams, and it looks like this match is on knife's edge. I mean, they have already played 2 matches beforehand, and maybe the fatigue is kicking in. But also, some players just get better and better as Red Bull touches the plastic there and does not get penalized at all. It even gets an okay line through that turn. So that might be something that the teams might look into after. Maybe this is faster. Yeah, as we have seen wallbangs on, for example, Cosmos. Maybe you remember that we were able to hit the sign and just make something out of that one as Planetary Goose. Well, he's on his back. Didn't make it into the checkpoint, and this looks to be like another ace for Restless here, as they are quite far ahead of Swed. They are 2 seconds ahead of him and Winky Face. Well, and also Red Bull just having to survive the ending. Looking good, both with a clear setup there and also 58.638. It's not a time to sleep on.
Yeah, definitely not a time to sleep on. Nothing to scoff at. This is a very, very good, very solid pace. And right within the ball, well, it's almost a bit faster than the ballpark than I usually guesstimate, of about half a second away from the top times in the world record, because typically half a second down between ultimate pace and actual race pace seems to be a pretty good thing to guess. But here, given that we're heading towards the final stages of the tournament, the competition is getting a lot fiercer, everybody's trying to go a lot faster, thus why we actually get those deltas that are a little bit smaller. Here at Planetary Ghost, we'll see the delta between him and his teammates get a little bit bigger as a result of that wall touch in checkpoint number 2 and 3, and that's an unfortunate barrel roll for Winky Face, who pulled the George Russell here, ladies and gentlemen. Zvede and Red Bull first and second, Planetary Ghost up to third. This is a victory chance here for Team Steak and Cheese to prevent Restless Black from walking away with the highest of scores, but in the meantime, Red Bull retakes the lead away from Zvede. So right now it's a draw situation looking to transpire. Huge crash from Zvede, who has a lot of lead-up time to retain third ahead of Winky Face, who is way far back. I doubt he will be able to reach the finish line in time, as we're going for Red Bolt and Planetary Goes from the perspective of the Chaser. The Kiwi from Team Steak and Cheese will not have enough juice left. Too little, too late. 59.315, 1 full second away, down to the millisecond compared to Baywatch's record, and it will be a draw at the end of it, 7-1, and map point number 2 on the cards for Restless Black.
Yeah, map point number 2, and this could go all down to the last map. So it is a draw, still heavily favorable for Restless, of course, because like that, they're up to 7 points. That is just so important, as they do not give Steak and Cheese any time to breathe. They still need to do their homework and need to catch a lot of points in the next couple of rounds. Oh, as Goose makes that first mistake, and he's out in that round. Looking really good here for Red Bull and Winky Face, first and second place for them. Winky Face with a very good start, and Red Bull is also not too far behind. Both clearing that trajectory nicely. Winky Face with a very good setup there. Look how much speed he has. Their slingshots out of that one very nicely, and also Sweat struggling to get the right line over that transitional sector. Still not too far behind, can still deny. And we could go into round number 5 on this map, but Red Bull and Winky Face looking very good here in this round, as Sweat also misjudges that turn, and look at that, it is looking really good. This could be the third ace of this race on this map, and they just have to survive the ending, but sometimes those are the hardest things to do, because endings can be quite risky in Trackmania, but they are clearing that very nicely, and we go to map number 5, Geek.
Yeah, 10-1, a pretty solid 4-round deal here for Restless Black, and yeah, another Game 5 series, huh? I mean, we didn't get it. We didn't get it on TRD versus Restless Black, but here we managed to get it another time, and oh, we're finishing on Simplicity. We're finishing on a Ski Freak map again this time, and yeah, this is going to be pretty spicy because yeah, I mean, both teams are somewhat locked in, I'd say, into the top 6. But yeah, the seed will determine the opponent that you will get in the quarterfinals, because I think top 2 is pretty much just locked out and completely gone. No chance to even think about it. So yeah, it will be very interesting to see how these two teams get on.
Yeah, I mean, if you get your 5th seed, you will play against seed 4, and if you're 6th seed, you will play against seed 3. So that is definitely something to play for, and this is an important victory for the teams. And the decider is Simplicity. Let's see how simplistic that map really is. We've seen some mistakes on this map already, And definitely a map that is Ski Freak style, and already the start gave us our first casualty here. It is Red Bolt who has made that first mistake. Sweat and Planetary Goose looking a bit better just from the get-go here, as they are fighting with Winky Face. Important round for them to punish Restless here already. Oh, but not a good line from Swed. Steers in a bit too late, and he is now on third position. Winky Face in the lead, so this could be a draw unless Winky Face makes a smaller or even bigger mistake. This could definitely happen, as now the ending comes into play. Winky Face, teleporting a bit, but still is in the lead. Goose with a good line, but doesn't commit to that. Still has more speed. Look at that, coming to the ending. Head to head it is. And we have Goose going into the lead, but still there's the ending to clear. Winky Face with a good line as well. Goose with a bit more speed. Goose can take it here, but will it be enough? Nope. 13,000s, and also Red Bolt overtaking Sweat here in the meantime. Restless again, after a wonky start, getting the victory.
Great start from a great ending from Winky Face, who had to push a little bit more than he bargained for to try and prevent Zvede from actually taking the individual round win, and he managed to make it happen pretty much perfectly to actually, at the very least, enforce a draw and then transform that into a victory thanks to Red Bolt's overtaking of Zvede actually to move up into third place himself, as we're going through to round number 2. Planetary Goose taking the early lead. Zvede and Red Bull going for a bit more of a conservative approach, as Planetary Goose completely messes up the platform to dirt transition alignment and will be relegated down to last place. And now the battle for second is very, very important. Zvede needs to be on top of things if he wants to keep ahead of Red Bull to get 1 point at the very least going the way of Steak and Cheese, and Red Bull makes the job a bit easier for Zvede due to a bit of a slow line through that outside pole turn on the platform and a bit of a clip as well, courtesy of Red Bull. Manages to get away with it, but loses a fair bit of time, maybe 1/10 being lost in there. Yeah, the gap widening to about 7.5 of a second as Winky Face continues to hold a really nice lead of half a second almost, driving at 56.302. Red Bull in third place yet again. Zvede splitting the two Restless Black members as we're heading into 4-2 now. 2 back-to-back victories. Restless off to a pretty good start.
Yeah, very good start for them. I mean, it could have been much more in this round, but still, I mean, none of them made a full blunder. It could have been 5-1, yeah, but a 2-4 or 4-2 in this way is still good. On the other hand, Steak and Cheese, they were ahead, they were leading in this series, and now they are behind on map number 5. It's do or die for them, and they know that. Sweat and Goose have to make something happen, getting a really good start. Red Bull is behind, but Sweat again with a mistake in that sector there, so he's behind. So now Goose has to already deny Restless another victory or even an ace, but Winky Face gets a good setup over that turn, has more speed than Goose, and also way better alignment in that sector here. So Goose versus Winky Face it is for that first place battle. To the 1,000, they are equal, so it is a great fight between them. Goose now with the best setup there. I mean, it was definitely good, but Winky Face had it much better and will get another first place. Red Bolt, however, is lagging a bit. I'm not sure what happened. He will not rubber band into the ending, and this is not a victory. This will be a draw, and I think a timeout. Unless Red Bolt...
Yeah,
he finished?
Looks like
Yeah,
yeah, he finished in speed. Yeah, that is a huge spike that happened on the side of Red Bull. So, gotta say, credit to Winky Face pulling along for Team Restless Black, just pulling in the performances left, right, and center every single time that he actually needed to. And yeah, looks like we have a big problem. Yeah, Red Bull is staying at the start line, so we might have a technical pause required. Yeah, there it is. There is the call for the pause. So we will have a little bit of a timeout whilst we wait for Red Bolt's situation to actually be figured out. There is a 10-minute break that can be taken advantage to the fullest. Of course, it will be shortened in case Red Bolt's issues are solved ASAP. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, this really reminds me of the round where Yannick's won against Virtual in the Cup of the Day. I think Red Bull already crossed the finish line, but then he just got rubber banded and his time did not count due to packet loss. So that was quite unfortunate for him. And that's like how they got that draw eventually and not the victory. So it's still everyone's game. 3-5 could be a nice series, but we're still waiting for Red Bull to resolve his problem. And also, someone confused me with Marius. That's interesting, actually. That is interesting.
Yeah, I saw that pop up. I'm like, oh, that's interesting to have that.
Because Marius has a way thicker German accent than I have. I mean, you can definitely hear that I'm not a native speaker, but Mario's accent is very thick. I mean, he's also like one of the best casters that we have in the game. He's also covering a lot of competitions, but yeah, well, his accent is definitely more audible than mine, I would say.
Yeah, yours is not as perceptible as the one for mine's been missing for a decade. So there you go. You know that's what happens when you watch a shit ton of US YouTube back when you're young. So yeah, we're just gonna be waiting to see how Red Bolt gets on whenever we actually get the go ahead to go and restart this match. Currently, just a quick recap of the standings: 2-2 in terms of map standings. Both with teams having won 2 maps, and 5-3 right now on the tiebreaker map that is Simplicity in favor of Restless Black. 5-3. Steak and Cheese still in with a shot to actually take the map away and take the win away from Restless Black, but they do need to get a little bit more ahead of themselves, as currently Winky Face is shown to be the MVP in this particular map, and pulling Restless Black together along with Red Bolt having placed this card just right and playing the format to the fullest.
Yeah, definitely. But also Steak and Cheese, they need to work together as a team here because, you know, one of them making a mistake, yes, this can happen, but this should not happen in every round. And we have seen a lot of crashes from them in particular. I think it was both Sweat and Goose struggling to just find a consistent way of crossing the finish line in first and third position, and then maybe just getting some points in those very, very crucial rounds. I mean, this is for the seeding here. It is very important, but it seems like that Red Bull has an 800 ping upload. So I hope that that it will be resolved and we will not have a laggy round again. But sometimes internet can be unstable. I mean, I'm from Germany, I know the best, and you also have a couple of issues here and there.
Well, you live in the part of the country that is nice. I mean, the weather is nice most of the time. There is a bit of drain that we get a bit mean on, but it's all right. But when it comes to internet, we are completely down the drain. That's basically it. If there's fiber coming, it will not be until the end of this year, apparently, according to estimates. And given that there's been already delays in the infrastructure, I'm expecting 2025 to become the target if there's any pushback. So I have to make do with 5G, but it's been working most of the time, to be completely honest with you. I didn't even know that we had a 5G tower until last year. So yeah, I'm taking advantage of that. But yeah, whenever there are issues like this, it kind of pisses me off.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially when you want to do stuff and you're like just reliant on the internet. That is
Yeah,
something that is
exactly.
very important. Yeah.
Like most things, especially when it comes to the administrative stuff, where they've been shifting to all digital pretty much all the time for most of the things that you have to do, and there's no longer any paperwork that you can actually find if you want to actually have a backup plan. You're forced to go through the internet. So that means if you don't have anything on site and you can't have anything on your own at home, you have to actually go to a specific center to actually fill in everything. So yeah, bit more extra complication. Kind of sucks not to have a backup plan, to be completely honest. But I digress.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like the thing. If my internet here dies, I have like a also like an external router that will connect to like a 4G or 5G tower, and it
Yeah.
is like free to use. If I can say, okay, I do not have internet and I do need it, that is cool. That my that Telekom in Germany offers that, but it's still like, you know, you then have those issues more frequent that you
Yeah.
have packet loss or stuff like that. So
Well,
it
for
is,
me,
yeah.
I'm familiar with those issues because I have to rely on LTE to get any kind of fast internet,
Mhm.
because the only thing I can get where I'm living in my neck of the woods is DSL. And we're not taking like VDSL or anything, just regular DSL, because we're way too far away from the what's it called? I have the name in French, I don't have it in English, but basically from the closet where every single line goes to,
Yeah,
we're
I
way
know.
too far away from that to have any kind of speed advantage. So we are forced to stick with 8 megabit down, 1 megabit up, and sometimes it's even 0.1 megabit up on the very bad day if you go for
Ooh.
DSL, which is rough. If I didn't have 4G or 5G, I wouldn't have be able to have the career that I have now, to be completely honest. So I'm forever indebted to cellular technology, but still having those kind of issues is in
Yeah.
2024, it's not exactly the best, the most ideal thing. But
Yeah, I mean,
I'm living with
I'm
those.
I remember when I had that. I mean, my city is like I would say not big, but also not small. But you know, like having this kind of like limited download and upload speed really is a pain. Like you want to download a game, hey, you have to leave your PC running the whole night in order to maybe play
Yeah,
it the other day, and then
memories
you
of
just wake
downloading
up.
Dirt Rally, waiting for 12 hours just for the
Yeah.
game to download. Oh man, sometimes I'm a bit nostalgic of those days, but I'm thankful those days are over for us here in our neck of the woods
Yeah.
with that with the LTE tower and maybe even fiber coming up. But the time for talking about internet is over, because on the internet right now is the match that is restarting, as apparently we have Red Bull coming back in and maybe making a bit of a gamble on the networking. Let's hope it pays out for him. But yeah, we're restarting right here, right now with our next round number 4 overall here on this map. And it will be currently Winkyface with a really, really solid start. Red Bull just a tiny bit behind, about a 10th.5 to 2 tenths behind on his teammate, which happens to be the leading trio of Svede, Planetary Goose, and Winkyface in no particular order. Currently, Winkyface still holding the lead at the split, but he's got 2 very hot-headed Kiwis right behind him, as we see Planetary Goose trying to make a bit of a charge for the lead of the race, with Winkyface trying to retaliate as soon as possible in the second sector. We also see Svede having a little bit of a look-see look as well, a bit of a wonky line at the exit of the platform part there for Planetary Goose. Winkyface continuing to go toe-to-toe with Svede, going a little bit wide there, thus dropping down to 3rd place. That could be a very, very solid shot of retaliation there for Steak and Cheese in terms of the point standings. We see Planetary Goose getting caught up to by Winkyface, maybe a godlike ending from the Australian to try and salvage the win to the line! And Winkyface wins for 3 milliseconds with a 0.474. It will be a draw at the end with Red Bull just 1.3 seconds down. It's still a 2-point lead for Restless Black.
This was such an important round there for Steak and Cheese to take, because both Sweat and Planetary Goose survived that round, but it wasn't enough for them to at least get 2 points. They got drawed. They didn't get that first position by 3 milliseconds. That is nothing. And also a small readjustment there, on the other hand, was not getting themselves anything. But now we see Red Bull kind of losing his momentum, maybe also after his network issues. Not in the zone right now, but Winkyface is there to play a significant role in just carrying his teammate, as Planetary Goose gets a no-slide, has no speed over that sector, and Sweat and Goose, well, I mean, they can't just get that draw. And I mean, right now positions look to be set in stone, because there's not too much happening, and also this ending is not particularly hard. Of course, you can fumble the alignment, but then you can still make it across and still clear that ending jump. It is not insanely hard to clear. And there you go, it is 5-7. Restless with match points, but Red Bull has to perform in the next round. Else Steak and Cheese also setting themselves up for a match point situation.
Yeah, but yeah, for Red Bolt, I think you've already mentioned that with that kind of unfortunate technical pause that had to be called in, it's going to take him a little bit of time to get back in the groove, to get himself back into the mental butter zone, to be able to perform at the fullest, to be able to actually deliver on the performances that are required of him to actually ensure that Restless Black do close out this map. Although in the previous rounds that he did before we got the interruption, he only ended up in 3rd place, as he was a little bit too far back to make any attack on Planetary Goose Stick. So I'm thinking we're going to see at least one more round being played here on Simplicity, unless we see a godlike ending from the part of Red Bull. As you can see, Planetary Goose looking a little bit shaky, as well as Vide. So it will be Red Bull moving up into 2nd position. In the meantime, Winkyface is completely gone up front, as Planetary Goose continues to pile on the pressure on Red Bull, who has to readjust a little bit of the platform. Planetary Goose moving up into 2nd position, trying to go toe-to-toe with Red Bull. Red Bull trying to retaliate as fast as he can. There is 1 corner left to go. He's going to run out of road. Can he actually make the ending stick? He's going to go a little bit too wide. We go for 1 more round. 0.505 for Winkyface. 3rd place for Red Bull. Restless White are not out of the woods just yet. They do need a 2nd individual place, which is easier said than done with the nice scoreline of 6-9. But you're not safe from seeing Steak and Cheese reap away the rewards with an ace that would be given due to mistakes from Restless Black that could still creep in at this stage of the match, and we could see all the cards being redistributed.
Ace or bust here for Svede and Planetary Goose, as Winkyface plays a very, very good match here, and right now finds himself on 3rd position. Svede and Goose are in the lead, but Svede with the mistake. Sometimes it seems like he does not have the right alignment over those turns and just makes that mistake, but that just shows how hard those maps are. And Svede also with a respawn, so that is it here by the looks of it. Red Bolt and Winky Face just have to survive one by one, and also Goose made a mistake. Red Bolt with the safe approach was going for a release and is now leading the race, and there you go. This is it. Restless taking home this series after being behind 2-1. But what a performance. It could have still been everyone's game, but this round where they got sniped by just 3,000 and 900ths of a second really destroyed their dreams, and Restless took it home. So there you go, GG's to them, but still a nice match that has happened.
Yeah, great match, and a great performance by Winky Face overall, and Red Bull managing to come back in at the last minute to punch in and actually prove that, yeah, he actually performs as well, and that can take advantage of other mistakes as well as we get that match done and dusted. And yeah, Restless Black, a very well-deserved victory versus Steak and Cheese, and it looks as though all the standings have been updated, so I think we can just take a look at the championship table at the end of those 3 days of group stage to actually take a look at who will be the top 6 contending in the playoffs next week. Trident Esports completely undefeated, 9-0. They trust the top seed. Antic Esports, the second seed, will be slotted straight into the semifinals. 2 Red Devils, Steak and Cheese, Restless Black, and Restless White complete your top 6. DXA Singapore had a very fringe shot of actually making it into the top 6, but given the match that we've seen versus Trident, it was kind of clear that it was only going to go one way, with the way of the championship leaders staying atop of the standings undefeated. So DXA Singapore 7th, Equinox in P8, Baked Nut Friday in P9, and Trident Storm in 10th and last place. And I think given that the standings are completely settled in, we should take a little bit of a look at the playoff bracket, that the placements that we are going to be having here over the course of the next week of matches. It hasn't been completely populated just yet, so I might have called in a little bit too early. Yeah, you can see it's not been completely populated, but top 1 and 2 are going to be sitting into the semifinals, and then of course the quarterfinals are going to be deciding who will be joining these two. And yeah, we're going to be set from some pretty interesting matches next week, Kai, even though we're not going to be there in the booth to actually witness them.
Yeah, we will not be there, but this will be some great matches that will be happening, brought to you by Formal Casting and also by Critty, who will be taking it over there. But it was a lot of fun. It has been so good to just cast these matches also together with you. And of course, it was just great to see that pace from this very, very competitive scene. So huge shout out to the whole scene, and it was just a lot of fun to cast those matches alongside with you, Geek, today. And well, I mean, if you want to do your pick'ems for next week, make sure to check out eCircuit Mania. They should be opened very soon. And well, that is, I think, all that I have from me now.
That's pretty much it for us. Make sure, of course, to follow all of the social media of the Trackmania Asia Oceania community, be it on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube as well, where you'll be able to see replay VODs in short order. And also, today is also a very momentous day because it will be the end of the Challenger division, with the playoffs going on as we speak. So you'll be able to see the action on the various different channels streaming the Challenger League, including a cast that is apparently currently going on that we might be heading into for you guys to have something to sink your teeth into. But anyway, that's been it from us here on the casting booth. I'm very thankful for the APAC community for allowing me to cast 3 days of competition like this. It's always a joy to kind of get out of the beaten path of the EU scene and check out some of the players from the other regions, because that delivers quite the spectacle indeed, and sometimes for better or for worse, as we've seen in a few of the matches. But anyway, thank you very much to everybody here, and apparently it is Rizimus doing the cast of the Challenger League, so we're going to be heading over to that. And yeah, as Turbo said, Max and Kredi will be taking over next week. You guys are in good hands for the playoffs. Thank you very much for being with us. Much love, be kind, stay safe, and until next time, Godspeed, people.